I watched Superman 4, for goodness sakes. Greetings, fellow nerds. I'm Chris.
I'm Michelle.
And we are Dees Nerds, and it's time for What Are We Watching? Volume 12. All right, so we got some TV seasons and 40-some-odd movies to go through, so we're just going to shotgun right through them.
First up, we've been working our way through the Arrowverse.
Yay!
So we completed seasons 3 and 4 of Arrow, season 2 of Flash, and just yesterday finished up season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, like with season 4 of Arrow and season 2 of Flash, we're currently in the middle of watching those. Literally just finished Legends of Tomorrow season 1 yesterday, like last night. And then, of course, finally finished the third season. It seemed like it took us a long time to get through the third season of Arrow.
Yeah, it did. That's such a dark season, I guess.
Yeah,
Not Damien Dark.
So we did a couple of football movies on DVD because for some reason Paramount has not released them on Blu-ray yet, and I really don't know what you're thinking, but we wanted them on physical media and we have them. First one is one of your favorites, The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler.
I love that movie.
Oh, it's so funny. I love it so much. And then I followed up with one of my favorite football comedies, Necessary Roughness, which this was the first time you'd seen this one.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And, like I said, we were just in the mood for some football. But seriously, like Paramount, put these out on Blu-ray. I mean, come on. I mean, it's not that hard.
We have the Matrix Trilogy. I got a hankering to watch these, and so we worked our way through Matrix Revolution, Reloaded, and Revolutions. And we are going to go back and watch the Animatrix at some point. I've never actually seen that one. I don't think you have either, so we'll get back to it.
I mean, yeah, they're a great trilogy. I know a lot of people say that, the two sequels are really weak. I disagree. I really enjoy them.
I just look at it as one whole thing. I mean, you can't look at them as individual movies at that point. The first one you can look at by itself, I think, but the other two you have to look at it as the whole picture.
Same. All right, so I'm gonna take two here that I'm doing for that I've done some watch-alongs for here. So first of all, I did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990. I'll put a card up here in the corner for you guys to click on to view my watch-along for that. I really had a blast doing this one. It's one of my favorite films that I'm pretty sure I'll say for like the 8,500th time that it was one of the films that defined my childhood. And also here, actually just last night, I did one that we'll be posting here probably within the next week or so. But I did Batman and Robin as well to kind of continue my going through the live-action Batman films. And I think we just talked about, I watched this because we just got this 4K set. I got it for Christmas from my mom. Thank you, Mom. I appreciate that very much. And so we watched it in December, and then I just watched it last night, and that's probably not enough time in between. I was really struggling getting through it, but I still enjoy watching it, although, and you'll see in the video, I mean, there's plenty to criticize, but I know that was actually your introduction to Batman.
Yeah, it really was. That one used to come on TBS or TNT a lot when we were kids, and I watched it all the time, and I had a major crush on Chris O'Donnell, so reasons. All right, next up, because it has to happen, Fellowship of the Ring and part 1 of the Two Towers. We haven't finished it yet, but these are Michelle's sad movies, or Michelle doesn't feel good movies, and Christopher says, "Michelle, are you pathetic?" And I say, And he says, "Do you want to watch Lord of the Rings?" And I say,
I believe the question was Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter, because you had some ailments here recently, and so you were not feeling great, and so the question was Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. And so she picked Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's I think we're legally obligated to include either Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings in every What Are We Watching. I don't remember signing that, but I'm pretty sure that it's a legally binding document somewhere.
Well, I think we have to say the same about Turtles and Batman, because I don't think we've made it through What Are We Watching yet without one of those two in there either, so...
You're probably spot on. All right, I finally kicked into the Hammer films with the Horror of Dracula. I love this film. It's so good. Christopher Lee as Dracula is just awesome. Peter Cushing as Van Helsing, again, just a solid win. And this is a great fun, and I am very excited to kind of go through and buy the rest of the Dracula films that Hammer did and just continue that whole saga. I know you haven't seen it yet, but I can't wait to show it to you.
Okay, so next up were one that our daughter requested and one that our daughter and we saw for the first time together, and we all really enjoyed it. So she requested specifically one night Batman versus Ninja Turtles, which it hasn't been all that long since we watched it, but we all loved it so much that we were more than happy to watch it with her again.
It's really a fun film. I mean, especially as a Batman and Ninja Turtles fan, it's like the best of all worlds, and I can't wait for the sequel.
And next up, I don't know how we managed to go this long without seeing this because we've had it on our shelf for quite a while, actually. But Moana. So, thumbs up for Moana. Super loved
Really
it.
good, and really sad now that this is the first time we've watched it.
Yes, and just gotta say, like, yay for princesses that have nothing to do with romance whatsoever. Like, no one even mentioned it. It never came up.
Don't need no man in your life. Just go be you and be happy.
Because I feel like every time they say that, there's still some attempt at romance or marriage somewhere in there. But this time, there's literally nothing, and it was really nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. I enjoyed it. I typically watch quite a few films after Michelle either gets ready to go to bed or is reading. And so that's whenever I pick out a lot of stuff that she normally won't watch. And that's been the case here, which of course I watch these, this box set has made its appearance at least once on the channel, once or twice. But the Friday the 13th box set, I watched Friday the 13th Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. And like I said, these are just... weirdly, they're comfort movies. They're movies I've watched many times, and it just feels good to put them on. And let's face it, whenever you're watching this, you're rooting for Jason Voorhees to kill some teenagers. That's what you're doing in a very demented way.
I'm not sure what that says about you.
It's probably best not to discuss it.
If you go like a long string of videos in a row and don't see me, call someone. All right, next up, we've been very slowly working our way through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we watched Thor Ragnarok, and it was actually only our second time watching this one, and I forgot how much I enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun, and I hope I say his name right, but Taika Waititi. I mean, the guy who directed this. I mean, God, he is so funny, and I'm really happy that he took hold of this franchise because this is by far the best Thor movie.
Yes, it is. It's the most interesting, and how relatable is Bruce Banner when he says, "I'm literally on a planet designed to stress me out." Welcome to the pandemic, Bruce.
It's 2020 and 2021. There you go. I had to get my Western craving satisfied, so I watched John Wayne and Big Jake. This is one that me and my dad just adore, and it's got some great lines in there. Of course, one of the famous ones from this movie is, you can call me Jacob, you can call me Jake, you can call me a dirty SOB, but if you call me Daddy once again, I'm going to finish this fight.
Next up is a 4K that we purchased that was new to us, and because I have an absolute obsession with quasi-realistic space movies, First Man. Wow, that was good. As
much as we hated High Life in the last What Are We Watching, we love this one as much as we hate that one.
Yes, this was so good. Mm-hmm. The space scenes where they're actually like in the rockets, trying to get into space are so stressful. Mm-hmm. Like they feel very realistic, like you are stuck in there with them and everything is shaking, and oh my gosh. I was like on the edge of my seat, just like, oh my gosh, get there. But of course he gets there. Hello. Like
it's like, Neil Armstrong landing on the moon.
But I just think that's good filmmaking. If you know what's supposed to happen and it still freaks you out.
So we have another football movie, and this one was one I know we both really enjoyed when we watched it. One we've watched before, first time watching it on Blu-ray though, The Replacements. I mean, this is just a fun movie, great actors and actresses, and it's just a good time.
And Keanu Reeves playing football is very pretty. So here's a couple of days ago, Christopher Plummer passed away, and so we thought that we would go and watch Knives Out. And this is such a great movie. I wish... This is one of those movies I wish I could go back and watch for the first time again, and not remember what I had already seen, because it's so good.
That was like one of my favorite theater experiences, because we're huge James Bond fans and love Daniel Craig as 007.
And Chris Evans as Captain America.
Absolutely. But we're watching the movie, and Daniel Craig's character comes in, and he's the first time he speaks, you're expecting 007. I mean, you're expecting that. And then all of a sudden what comes out of his mouth is just, Southern Georgia, accent. It is crazy. And we both had the same reaction. We looked at each other and we remembered the Office episode where Michael Scott is playing a murder mystery game with them, and he takes that same accent. We both looked at each other and said the same line from that episode. We looked at each other and said, "There's been a murder in Savannah." It is a wonderful movie, and it's just, I can't say enough good things about it. I need more Benoit Blanc in my life.
For sure.
All right, so again, on my own, I watched one of John Carpenter's first films, Assault on Precinct 13. And guys, it's amazing how he had this from the start. He has a very distinctive style. and it just works. I am a real big fan of this film. It had me on the edge of my seat the whole way.
Next we got one that I hadn't seen before, but you had, right?
Yeah, a long time ago.
So this is Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds. And I really enjoyed it a lot. It's definitely a film that it's not very hopeful.
No, it's pretty bleak up until they win.
Yes. Dakota Fanning is phenomenal in it. She's always such a good actress.
No, she's great.
Wanted to kick his son in the teeth for like half the movie.
All right, so we continued our trek. We've really slowed down going through the DC animated movie universe, but I've got a couple left, and so we watched Batman Hush. And I know I heard a couple of things saying this wasn't good. Of course, the comic book of this is just one of the legendary stories, involving Batman. But I thought this was really well done. I enjoyed it immensely. I had the whole movie I just greatly enjoyed, and I know you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, it was a good one. Okay, continue on my love of quasi-realistic space movies. Interstellar. I will never forget our first time watching this movie. It was not at the theater. This is actually one we didn't see for quite some time, but we bought. And when we first watched it, our daughter was a newborn, and we couldn't hear the movie because the sound mixing is really kind of difficult. So
it's a very Nolan sound mix where like the dialogue seems really low, and then all of a sudden he has these huge other sounds that are happening, and it can be a little annoying. That's my one minor critique of most Nolan films.
So anyway, we were trying to watch this. She was a newborn. She kept like fussing and crying. We were having trouble keeping her asleep. So I just distinctly remember us sitting on both ends of the couch and just like passing her back and forth throughout this movie while we were reading subtitles. But it's such an amazing movie. It's such a gut punch in so many different ways, and it has such a beautiful score. Every time I watch this movie, it's just the sounds are so good. Love it. So
we go from probably one of the artiest of films that's come out in the last few years to definitely what I would call a B movie, and I think that's putting it lightly, although I love this movie. I know you watched this with me while you were kind of reading. You weren't really interested in watching the movie, and like you were like looking up from your book partway through the movie going, what are you watching? And
there were also a couple of injected in there because parts of that are gross.
But it is the return of Swamp Thing. Guys, I understand this is not a great movie, but there's something about it. It was one I liked as a kid, and it's got an entertainment value to me. Just because something is entertaining does not mean I think it's a piece of high art, but it is entertaining to me, and I enjoy it. It's definitely 80s B-grade movie schlock. I'll go ahead and call it a schlock, but it's very awesome schlock.
Next up, we have the Mummy Trilogy. I don't remember if we had watched the first one last time we filmed or not.
Yeah, we had. We watched the second Mummy movie and then the Tomb of the Dragon Emperor to finish out the trilogy.
So I had not seen Mummy Returns in quite a long time. Really enjoyed that one. Tomb of the Dragon Emperor was good, but Evie's all wrong. And it was really hard to get past that.
I will say, and I think we had a pretty long discussion after the film, if this film has Rachel Weisz in it, this is a good movie.
It's still the least, I think, of the three.
Oh yeah, I will definitely agree with you.
But I think my complaint on that one was that they made very little use of Jet Li. I mean, you have Jet Li, use Jet Li.
Yeah, I mean, and Jet Li's awesome in this movie for what little he's kind of in it. But yeah, like that was it. You almost are just left thinking what might have been, because overall it's still good.
Because I think they build up the mummy in the first two to be such an interesting character and give him so much backstory, and the backstory and just kind of overall character development on this one was pretty thin, I thought.
And nothing against Maria Bello, but whenever you've had Rachel Weisz and Brendan Fraser in that chemistry, it's just not there.
It just wasn't. We watched like 10 minutes of it and I was like, they have no chemistry. And I kept thinking it would get better and it didn't. But...
yeah. It is what it is. So, again, I had more John Carpenter films. I figured I'll just put all these together because they were part of a big sale that Shout had to celebrate his birthday. But I watched Vampires, which is awesome. Loved it so much. It's basically, like a Western mixed with vampires. It's awesome. Highly recommend it. Also watched Someone's Watching Me. This was actually, I think, filmed right before Halloween, but I think it came out after Halloween. If I'm wrong, just feel free to correct me in the comments. But guys, this is really good. Especially for something that's basically made for TV. This was like on the edge of your seat. And then I also watched, this is a little zanier, but I watched Body Bags. And it's interesting in that, Carpenter plays kind of like Tales from the Crypt, the Crypt Keeper. He plays the coroner in this and kind of plays the same role where he kind of introduces 3 stories within. And this was also really entertaining. Some of the stuff was like just kind of silly, and then some of it was like really dark, and I thought it was just spectacular.
All right, next up we have Peter Jackson's King Kong.
And I know this was one that you've never seen. I saw it, and we've had the Blu-ray for a while, but we've never watched it. But you kind of mentioned one day, you're like, man, like I feel like I just really need to like watch that King Kong movie because you've been reading a lot about Peter Jackson. Of course, you love Lord of the Rings, and I was like, well, let's watch it. And so we did, and it is exactly how I remembered it. It is really great if they shaved about 45 minutes off of it.
It is really long. Really long.
Mm-hmm.
It's good though. It's just they do spend a lot of time on the people. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how far into the movie we were before we actually saw Kong, but it was quite a while.
It was a long time.
But the characters are all really well done. Jack Black starts out seeming like he might be kind of okay and then turns into a colossal bahooty hole, as I like to say.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was good, though. I liked it.
This is one I watched while you took a nap one Saturday. And while Charlotte was playing, I popped in the worst Superman movie. Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. That's kind of like what I've said about this film before. I think whenever I rank the Superman films, I rank this dead last. You okay?
Sorry.
I understand. We're shooting this kind of late. I've said this before to you especially. Is it a great movie? No, it is not. But I'm still not going to pass up a chance to watch Christopher Reeve in the suit one more time when we only have 4 films. So I'm not going to just automatically forget it because it's bad, because when Christopher Reeve is in there, it's really good. Whenever you only have 4 opportunities with that, you take what you can get.
All right, and last on my side, we have Tremors, the super fancy Arrow Video 4K version with all of its cool box set stuff.
Yeah, I covered this in the last movie haul, so no need to go back into that.
And it is a classic. It's just great.
And I will say the transfer on this compared to the old Universal Blu-ray, it just looks so great. All right, so another one here I watched was, come on. You gotta love some Tarantino, right? Kill Bill Volume 1. This is my favorite between this and Volume 2. Although Volume 2 is really cool as well. There's so much action packed into Volume 1, and it's just so cool. Great sword fights, cartoonish kind of violence, and severing of limbs and everything. It's just great fun. I adore this movie.
Also, the reason he watches so many movies by himself is because I have a bedtime and he doesn't. And he just watches movies till he gets tired.
Yeah, my general idea is I will stay up, sometimes 11, 12 o'clock. But, for you have specific, you have to get your 8 hours. So she's usually out by 9:30, 10 o'clock. So, usually that means I have extra time, which is great because, quite honestly, I do have a lot of movies in the collection that you're not really interested in. So it gives me time to enjoy them and just get to rock and roll. So now I'm going to finish up because we watched a lot of Godzilla. We're getting excited for Godzilla vs. Kong. Of course, we did a reaction to the trailer, which was Charlotte's debut on the channel, and that was a lot of fun. I think that's our first video to have over 1,000 views. First of all, thank you guys so much. That's really awesome that we were able to have that. That's a huge milestone for us. But, we watched a ton of Godzilla. So we finished out this huge gargantuan guy. We watched Destroy All Monsters. We watched All Monsters Attack. Then Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Godzilla vs. Gigan, Godzilla vs. Megalon, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, Terror of Mechagodzilla. And so I'll kind of go through those real quick. They're in this set. First of all, Destroy All Monsters. It gets a lot of love, and I'm definitely not hating on it. I do think it moves a little slow for me until the last 20 minutes. Last 20 minutes is just a big monster brawl, and Ghidorah gets his butt whipped, and it's so awesome to see that happen. But all the great monsters are in it, and of course Godzilla's at the head of the pack. But it's really good. And as far as All Monsters Attack, I think I mentioned in the last video that the worst Godzilla movie I'm gonna save for this one. And I'm sorry, some people will try to find some good things in it, and that's great if you like that movie. I cannot stand it. I can't stand the kid in the movie. First of all, it's not really a Godzilla movie, and Minya's in it for like the majority of it. Like Godzilla's barely in it, and the kid is annoying. It's just, I watched it just so I could kind of talk about it because it'd been a while since I'd watched it, just so I could talk about it here. If I'm going back through, I'm probably going to pretend it doesn't exist, if I'm being completely candid. And if you know me, you know that I'm very much a completist. I watched Superman 4, for goodness sakes. I can't. It's just so boring. And it was torturous. And the movie's only like an hour and 10 minutes long. I was like, just saying, like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? Like, I'm sorry, it's just not good. Godzilla vs. Hedorah, I think, is very underrated. It's generally, like, it's got some silly moments in it, and it's really sometimes not regarded as that great, but I think it's actually very underrated. It's up there. It's definitely one of my favorites of the 70s era, like definitely post Destroy All Monsters. Gigan, I think, is awesome. Megalon's pretty weak. Jet Jaguar is kind of cool, but I don't know, you can tell they're starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel at that point. But Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla is probably one of my favorites in the entire Showa series. Oh my gosh, it is so good. And we watched that all together with Charlotte, because Charlotte was like, I want to watch a Godzilla movie. So we're like, Charlotte, will you let me pick one? She for once, she was like, yes. So we watched it, and she loved it. She called it Robot Godzilla. But she loved it, and I think too. I think it's one of the best ones. Matter of fact, if you watch my guide for Godzilla newbies video, you'll notice that I put it as kind of like one of the 6 Godzilla films to start at if you haven't watched Godzilla before. And I think it is. It's very entertaining. Mechagodzilla is a great villain, and then Terror Mechagodzilla. It's a good follow-up, a good sequel, but it's honestly just too short. It could easily pad that runtime and go a lot deeper, and it would have been a lot better film. But wait, there's more. By watching The Return of Godzilla, or Godzilla 1984, and I also may have searched the deep dark interwebs and found Godzilla 1985 somewhere, and watched it as well, because they are very different movies. But this is again another one that I put on the list of 6 Godzilla movies to watch if you haven't gotten into Godzilla. Love this one. Absolutely great. And then I also watched Godzilla vs. Biolani, which I found out in kind of looking at things on Blu-ray.com that apparently this one their asking price for this, because apparently it's out of print, is for quite a bit. It's like $200 something. But I'm not going to part with it. It's a solid Godzilla movie. It's got some really cool like messages about like the environment and everything. And Biolani's a really interesting monster that weirdly they haven't brought back. So like I said, we've watched like what is that, like 6 or 7 or 8 Godzilla movies. Like there's a lot to go through. My goal is to watch all of them, and potentially all of the King Kong films before Godzilla vs. Kong drops in March. So wish me luck on that, because that's a lot of kaiju, y'all. All right, so now I turn to you and just want to know, what have you been watching? Maybe give us a couple of recommendations for something to watch, and we'll give our thoughts on it. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like what we're doing here at Dees Nerds, we're just 2 nerds on one channel, just talking about the things we love and why we do it. Subscribe to the channel and ring that bell icon so you know whenever we have new videos coming out. As well, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so if you miss us in between videos, check us out there. We're posting content pretty much daily. And we also have merch. So, if you like, if you want to go on our Teespring account, we'll put the link down in our description. You can go check out, buy a hoodie. It's pretty cold right now here in Arkansas, so buy yourself a hoodie, buy a mug for a nice warm cup of coffee. So just have at it. Guys, we really appreciate it. Right as of right now, we are at 194 subscribers. I think we've mentioned before, my goal for this channel was to have 100 subscribers in 2 years. The fact that we are 2 months shy of our 1-year anniversary and we're already almost at 200, we cannot thank you enough. Thank you guys so much for all the support, the kind words. We're constantly looking for new ways to improve our videos and come up with new ways to just talk about a whole bunch of nerdy stuff. So again, thank you guys so much. So until next time, I am Chris.
I'm Michelle.
And we are Dees Nerds, and you guys have a great, safe rest of the day.
Bye.